Hello friends, welcome back to another video and a special big hello if you are new. Today I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I read in May. I read 4 books in May. I read 1 ebook and 3 physical books. As always, we'll start with physical books. The first physical book that I read was The Story of the Trapp Family Singers by Maria Augusta Trapp. This is a memoir / autobiography about the real Maria who The Sound of Music was based upon. I loved this book so much. I've been a huge fan of The Sound of Music, but I found that this was so different that they can't even be compared. Maria really truly wanted to be a nun. It wasn't just something that had kind of been forced upon her, and she was actually quite devastated when she wasn't able to become one and married Captain Von Trapp instead. She did love him, but like that really wasn't the choice that she wanted to make. And she also didn't like leave the nunnery because she was kind of wild and was troublesome. She actually was very ill. She was a very active person, and I hope you didn't hear that motorcycle. But the lifestyle that she was being forced to leave was actually really detrimental to her health because her body was used to a very different lifestyle. So that was why she was sent to be a governess for the Trapp family. The journey of the Trapp family kind of within World War II, they were invited to sing in front of Hitler multiple times and they turned him down, which is originally why they decided to flee. They went to America, but they weren't allowed to stay. So they kind of had a vagabond through Europe, and then they came back to America, and they actually weren't even supposed to stay then, but it lucked out that they were able to due to the war. I just think this is a beautiful story of resilience and family and hope and making the best of really bad, scary times and relying on community to help you. I loved this book. Maria's style of writing was so personal. I felt like she was literally sitting down talking to me and telling me her story. It was really funny. She got the family in quite a few like little mishaps. For example, there's a scene in here where they're at Ellis Island and they were only there on a work visa to sing and tour in America, and the official was like, how long do you plan to stay here? And you know, she was supposed to say like however many months that the tour was going to go on, and Maria's like, oh, I never want to leave, like I love it here. And the family actually got detained at Ellis Island, and there had to be a trial, and people had to come and like vouch for the family. It was just really good and beautiful. And then in the ending, as they're getting older and Captain Von Trapp is nearing the end of his life, was just like, I just wanted to sob. It was just a really beautiful tale of really amazing life, and I just really recommend it. I recommend it if you're a fan of The Sound of Music, just because I think that it's really important to know Maria's actual story. But I also just think it's just a really great, beautiful like memoir autobiography, and I just highly recommend it in general. The next book was my favorite book of the month, and it was Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I adore Emily Henry. She is one of my favorite writers. She is an autobi writer for me. This was probably my most anticipated read of the month, or the year, and the month. This tells the story of 2 writers, and they are bidding for the opportunity to write a biography of Margaret Ives, who was a very famous socialite. After her husband passed away, he was quite famous as well. He was kind of a revolutionary musician, like an Elvis, Beatles type of figure. After his death, she disappeared from society and public view, and no one had really heard of her since. So both of these writers have kind of tracked her down, and they are bidding to write her biography. And Margaret decides to kind of give them a little trial. So for a month, she meets with both writers separately on opposite days, and gives each of them different points of her story. And then at the end of this month, she's going to pick one of them to write her biography. Again, I loved this one. I know that there were a lot of conflicting opinions on this one because the romance definitely takes a back seat and it's not the forefront of the novel. But personally, like, I have always been one of those people that are like shouting from the rooftops that Emily Henry is so much more than a romance writer. And there is nothing wrong with writing romance. There's nothing wrong with romance books. I love reading romance. So I'm not saying that, but I just feel like having that label can kind of make someone's work seem as though it's not well written or not like really good solid quality that can appear to like a multitude of audiences. And I've always felt that about her work. So I like don't go into her books simply for the romance. I go in for the character dynamics. I go in for the character backstories, and I go into it for reasons much more than like banter and cutesy moments. So I wasn't like deterred that romance wasn't the forefront of this book. I did love the romance though. I thought that the pacing and kind of the flow of the relationship was really well done. I love that the characters are in their 30s. I feel like so many romance books or like romantasy books, the characters are like 19 or 21. And so it felt really nice to have characters that were like close to my age. Sorry, I have a tickle in my throat. I love the story of Margaret Ives and the history of her family. I could have read a book double the length of this one about them. I thought it was fascinating, and I loved how well done it was put together in the mystery of her. I read this book in 2 sittings, in 3 sittings. So I read the first half within 2, and then I read the last half within 1. I didn't finish this book till 2 in the morning because I had to know what was going to happen. I loved it, and just like, again, it just really solidifies like Emily Henry as a favorite author for me. I will quite literally read anything that she writes ever and love it. And just like kudos to Emily Henry as well for taking a risk and writing what she wants to write, even knowing that like it's not what her audience expects. I just have like a lot of respect for her because of that too. The last physical book that I read in the month of May was Middlemarch. We finished Middlemarch. If you've seen any of my videos recently, then you know that we have been working through Middlemarch since March. My goal was Middlemarch in March, and then I realized I wasn't going to finish it, so I kind of fell away from it. I picked it back up in April, and then I was like, I'm not going to finish it this month either, so I fell away from it again. But I was really determined to finish it in May, so on the last day of May, I stayed up reading the last 100 pages because I was determined to finish it. I really liked this book. I did give it 4 stars just because all of the times that I sat it down and I could have easily sat it down and not picked it up for months and months. And I think that if I wasn't a more disciplined reader, and I wasn't someone who really I don't like to abandon books, I don't like to DNF books, I could have easily not picked this up for 6-7 months or even a year. It is just very slow paced, and I just feel like because of that, even though I am in all of the writing and the way the characters were all intermingled and together, it just didn't capture my attention as well as other classics have in the past. But Middlemarch tells the story of the citizens of the town in Middlemarch in the 1830s. It's when the Reform Bill was taking place in England, and there was the ascension of William the Fourth, I think. I can't remember. But basically, it just tells the story of the citizens of this community. You have some older adult citizens. You have some younger citizens that are leaving their teens and moving into adulthood. We have a banker's point of view, we have a doctor's point of view, and all of them are mingling through this time of reform and change. Some people are embracing that change and loving it, and others are very reluctant for it and want to stay kind of the way things are. It's really fascinating the way everyone was woven in together. I thought that it was really well done. It explores a lot of heavy themes, like marriage, religion, self-image, political, education, I don't know, there's just a lot of really fascinating things in here, and I really enjoyed it. I think that this would be a great novel to have gotten to study in school, and maybe one day in my lifetime I will come back to it and take a more scholarly approach to it, but for now we are just happy that we actually finished it and worked our way through it. The ebook that I read was book 3 in the Gold Rush Ranch series by Elsie Silver. This was called The Front Runner. I'm reading book 4 now, and I feel like this is going to be my favorite book of the series. I really enjoyed this one, and overall the Gold Rush Ranch series has been okay, but this one has really stood out to me, and I feel like it's kind of more like in league with Chestnut Springs, but I still have not found anything that I like as much as Chestnut Springs by Elsie Silver. This one had themes like, I guess there's a little bit of like enemies to lovers. It's very faint, and it has like close proximity, a little bit of fake dating. I really love the fake dating trope, so I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of sad because, like I said, I'm reading the 4th book now, and then that's it. Like, I'm all caught up with Elsie Silver, and I have to wait for releases now. But all in all, I just think her books are perfect if you just want like a palate cleanser and you want just like a really fun like romance. I just think that they fit the bill perfectly. I also wanted to give you a quick little, I guess, reading update and tell you about my June TBR. So, the book that I'm currently reading is Lovely War by Jolie Berry. I'm loving this book so much. I'm not very far into it, but I feel like this is going to be a 4 or 5 star read for me. I think that it is so well done, and I am just immersed. And I've been thinking about it all day, and I feel like I'm going to work through this one really quickly. The last book on my spring TBR is Sense and Sensibility. I have taken a long time to work through my spring TBR because I feel like every new release that I was looking forward to this year has come out within the past like 8-week span. So I've been trying to read those in balance with this one, but I'm really excited to reread this one. I hope that I love it. It's been so long since I've read it that I feel like it'll feel almost like reading it for the first time because I don't remember a ton of detail from it. And then the last book that I want to hopefully make it to in June is The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. I want to have a very Jane Austen summer, so I think that this fits the bill really well. I saw that this was available on Kindle Unlimited, and I was talking to one of my friends about it, and she was like, oh, I have the book, you can borrow it. So I'm excited to read the physical book of it. I've heard so many good things about it. My friend who I borrowed it from, Lakin, she has a YouTube channel, and she said this is her favorite like non-Jane Austen book. And then I see Desi from Darling Desi talk about this book all the time, and I feel like her recommendations really fit like what I enjoy, so I have very high hopes for this one. Also, I wanted to mention that I've been listening to the audiobook of Tom Lake, and I'm enjoying it. And it's good, but I don't see what the hype is. But I'm only like 20 some percent in, so hopefully as we listen to more of that this month, we'll kind of catch like why everybody loves that book. But anyway, thank you guys so much for being here and listening to me babble on about books, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!